Welcome to the Lost in Translation show, where we explore current events to help people understand what's happening in their world today. My name's Simone, and I'm your host. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe so we can get the good news out. Many Americans today have become very disenfranchised with the election system and are suspicious of the outcomes. This includes people on all sides of the political spectrum. Democrats believe Al Gore won the election with George Bush Jr. Hillary Clinton continues to publicly lament her loss to Trump, citing Russian interference. The Republicans believe Trump won the 2020 election. Bernie Sanders supporters believe Hillary Clinton stole the Democratic presidential nomination from Bernie. How can people trust the election process if the candidates themselves do not trust the system? So today I brought in a special guest. She's working on Measure B. It's a ballot in California to make people feel more secure about their voting rights and what actually happens at the voting booth. So welcome, Deidre Holiday. Thank you for being with us today.
Sure. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to discuss it.
You're welcome. Now, why don't you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and the organization that you represent?
All right. There's not really an organization that I represent. I am a person who moved here in the end of November 2022 to Reading. And I just have a love for America and a love for freedom, and have sensed that our freedoms are being robbed by having election turnouts that really don't reflect the will of the people. And so there are lots of really patriotic kind of salt of the earth types people here that also are concerned. And so we have just sort of found each other and coalesced and started working together on the issue of election integrity.
All right. And now are you a native Californian? You said you're from Southern California originally?
Yes, I was born and raised in Los Angeles County, specifically San Fernando Valley, Woodland Hills. And then after I got married, moved down to San Diego County, where we raised our four children. And we were there from 1974 until just 2022. So,
And decided to move to Shasta County, just to remind people, and that's in Northern California. Uh, what have you learned about working within your community politically and kind of to address public entities? Has it been receptive? Do you feel that people in the government are receptive to changing the rules and regulations, or is this more of a citizen-driven effort?
it's definitely citizen driven, and it has been an interesting study, excuse me, study of government and community and politics. We have met a surprisingly high level of resistance from our elected officials and didn't see that coming. Our Board of Supervisors is composed of five different people. And when we first came out with this, they sued us, not wanting it to be on the ballot. And County Council had not wanted to write a title for it, a summary title. And so we got through that, and we did get way more than the needed signatures. But then somebody from the community sued against having it on the ballot, and the Board of Supervisors had the choice to hire counsel to represent us, but they chose not to. They voted not to have anyone. So that left it to five of us to scramble for some legal help, and we did get very good help, and that also has been dismissed. So it is officially on the ballot as of June 2nd. But just seeing just different community reactions is very interesting. A lot of people here are very involved, but many just they don't care, or they've given up. They've said, "No, I fought for years and years, and I'm done." And so that's always sad because we just have to keep going.
Well, why don't we get a better description of what Measure B is actually, and then I have some
Yes.
follow-up questions on the lawsuit.
Yes, it's kind of known loosely as the voter ID measure, sort of like our California state voter ID measure, but we have several other tenets in it. And those include limited absentee ballots, going back to closer to what it was before. They had the universal mail-in ballots. If you'll remember, they started using mail-in ballots universally for a temporary basis when COVID came in because of the emergent situation and the supposed level of danger. And then in, I believe, 23, the state legislature voted it as permanent. Just from now on, we're going to do universal mail-in ballots. And also, when the counts are being done, the ballots and the tally sheets will be projected onto monitors so everybody can see as if they're just standing right over somebody's shoulder. And that has already actually been instituted by our new registrar of voters, Clint Curtis. And there will be hand counting. And I know there's a question about, well, but that's illegal because the state election code says that you have to use machines. It does say that, but there's also a required 1% hand count to kind of just compare it and see if it looks like the machine count is on. That's the minimum, but there is no maximum that is stated. So we could count 100% manual and also do the machine tally, the machine one being to fulfill the requirements of the law. And that in itself, some people are like, what's the difference? If you have to use the machine, then why bother doing the hand counting? Well, the difference is that if there is a discrepancy, then we have to figure it out. And there's actually a place in the election code, it's division 15, if anyone is interested, section 15360, that the paper audit trail prevails if there is a count discrepancy. So that is very good. And I think that would be helpful for people to just relax and think, okay, we know that we're getting a legit number now because they did the machines and they did the paper and it's reconciled or it's not. And then, which one. But personally, I feel like whenever we put a machine in where there are private parts and locked up pieces in that, it's like hydroplaning. I lived along the beach for years, not on the beach, but coastal. And you used to see these people hydroplaning. You just stand on a wooden little skateboard type thing without skates, and across the shore you just start moving. And once the water lifts you, there is a layer between that board and the ground, and they're not touching the ground. And I think with machines, it's gotten in between us and our votes, and it lifts us out of control of the count.
Are there any measures, for instance, we did have the right to review the logs, review the ballots, etc., but the Board of Supervisors, there was never allowed to be a real audit because they refused to give us any of the information they were legally obligated to provide. So are there any protections against or punishment for politicians who are not following the law, which is what
Well,
happened last time?
yeah, this doesn't really deal with like punishments for politicians. And what we're dealing with in this measure is a charter amendment. We are a charter county, and that is what is giving us more freedom than the typical county. So this is not going to be like a up to state level or anything like that. It's
Okay.
just for the county. And everything is just like by hand. The paper poll books not be attached to the internet, keeping our own records local. I know that in certain instances, we're supposed to be connected with Sacramento, but we've gotten a way to cover that. The details of which I don't know, but my understanding is that they will get everything that they are asking for. We have every intention of fulfilling what the requirements are, but what we're trying to do is go beyond and better. We're trying to upgrade our elections for the local people, and that is being read and misread in my mind as breaking the law.
By your opponents, they say you're breaking the law.
Yes, even groups I've been in that supposedly were together, but they're afraid of breaking the law. And I mean, I honor that. I don't want to be a lawbreaker, but when you have laws that are unconstitutional, like you may not ask for voter ID, then there is not the obligation to go with that because it's not a valid law. It has broken the Constitution, one of our First Amendment rights. It's just they're diluting the vote by letting illegitimate votes come in. And so we have to come to a point where we're just thinking logically. I mean, just think if the founding fathers had said, well, we'd love to break away from England, but that would be breaking the law. So we just have to stay. No, I mean, we have to let common sense kick in and say, this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. And we need to stand up or we're going to get ourselves into a little box by backing in, backing up, giving in, and just keep saying we can't break the law. The laws are ridiculous now, and they're just blatantly breaking the Constitution. And I think in California, because the Democrats and the liberals have a super majority, they're pretty much writing a blank check and just having fun with it. But some of the laws are ridiculous. Like you don't have to show voter ID, and you can't even ask for it. So,
Well,
yeah,
you have to show ID to go into a bar. You have to show an ID to go
yeah,
to the bouncy house place
yeah,
here.
yeah. To
Uh,
get a hunting license, nobody's complaining about that. So, yeah,
Okay, so we all know how ridiculous that whole system is. Whether you're on the right or the left, you should want to have honest elections. This is a nonpartisan issue. I don't
mhm,
want somebody who wasn't elected by the people, even if they disagree with me, because that's just the way our system works.
right,
And we can
right,
also learn. We can just continue to see people who disagree with as our enemy and it's gotten so vicious, or we can see it as a door open to try to come to a mutually acceptable conclusion. And that's what our government used to be based on. Now we
yeah,
have these political activists that are put in place to bring
yeah,
about global changes as opposed to be a county supervisor and care what's going on with the farmers in their community. So
mhm,
unfortunately, we've ignored things for a long time and expected the government to fix itself. And now we're here at this time.
yeah. That's been at great expense. Just trusting that the government will take care of it. Bad mistake.
Okay, so does Major B still include using machines to count the ballots as a secondary count?
No, it doesn't include that. That by default is what the state law is, and we
Okay.
still have machines in place. The desire is to get beyond them where we don't have to use them at all. But at this point, we can do a 100% manual tally at the same time as the machine count. And again, I think it's going to kind of take care of itself because we have to make those numbers reconcile. They've got to.
Well, but who's going to be reconciling them? Last time they blocked the audit committee in Shasta County, and after months and months, they canceled the audit committee, and no one ever got to see one document. So, what's the assurance? Is there any kind of assurance in Measure B that prompts the politicians to follow the laws, or are they just going to continue to do whatever they want anyway?
Well, this is pretty specific. I've just kind of highlighted 25 different tenets in here. I don't know that you want me to read the whole text. It might be more of a time budget than you want, but
You
it
want to
does.
point out the key things?
Sure. Yeah, I'll
Okay,
just
if you want to
bullet
scan
point.
through the things you think
Yeah.
might be important.
I'll just do bullet points of
Okay.
the points. Elections shall be held on one day. Limited absentee ballots. Ballots will be hand counted at the precincts as opposed to going to the center. Utilizing the tally book format in Linda Rance's return to hand counting manual. Um, Ballots and tally sheets will be projected onto monitors so observers can confirm the accuracy. Precinct manual hand count results will be used for the official canvas of Shasta County. Counting teams of 4 will be for each counting place, so there will be witnesses. Counting will occur concurrent with voting, so after 11 or more ballots have been cast and shuffled, the counting will start, but tallies will not be released until the polls close. The first numbers will be taped to the door, and every hour after, anybody can come, anybody will be welcome. Countywide election outcomes will be provided on the night of the election. No more of this, 2, 3 weeks, and oh, we're waiting for more ballots to come in. Hand counters will be members of the public from any political party. They will be selected by a fair and transparent public lottery of volunteers. Hand counters will wear a name tag. Hand counters will be volunteers with no expectation of payment, but the county does withhold or hold the right to offer them a stipend of no more than $100. Voter rolls will be maintained on a computer that is not connected to the state of California, nor any other third party. A new voter roll will be created upon implementation of this. The voter rolls are so dirty and kind of changing and kind of static that just going to raise it, as in RAZE it, to the ground and start all over with everyone registering. Then we'll start out clean and then stay on top of it. The voter rolls will be maintained on a computer with open source software that is not connected to the internet through cable or modem. Only paper poll books will be used to check in voters. Voter rolls will be kept clean by permanently removing individuals who are deceased, moved out of county lines, or have addresses that are undeliverable. And in the past, they were removed and then they'd come back on. They'd show up again. It was just a cat and mouse cycle. Inactive and canceled voter lists shall be held within a separate database on a different computer, also not connected to the internet. Only U.S. citizens shall register to vote. What a concept. Using a government-issued photo ID. All voters will produce this ID to verify they are on the voter roll on election day. And the last one is that third-party and DMV voter registration shall not be added to Shasta County voter rolls until they're verified for eligibility.
Okay, that really does cover a lot of different things that people have been facing. It sounds like you guys have put a great effort together there and a great document.
And it has to have a lot of facets because a lot of people say, oh, voter ID, let's just do voter ID and we'll be good. Well, picture a colander that you rinse fruit in or something. It's got lots of holes. And if we plug up just one of those holes, a lot of water's still going to get through. And if you plug up everything but one hole, there's still going to be a leak. So we want to plug up all the holes we can think of. And, if we didn't think of them all or something wasn't quite right, we can go back to the drawing board and go for another charter amendment or whatever we have at our availability to make things even better.
Okay, so the other thing is how can people get a hold of you if they want to volunteer or if they want to find out more about Measure B? And also, will Measure B, it'll go on this ballot and then it'll be voted on in the fall and then it'll be for the 2028 elections? Or when is this going to go into force if it passes?
Well, it would go into force right after passing, and it will be the election is on June 2nd. And so it won't go to another election in November.
Okay.
It's either yes or no, a majority vote. And a good contact for people to find out more about it and connect with us is the website vote4forb.com. So I've got capital VOTE, capital FOR, capital B.com. And I'm not sure it's even case sensitive, but I'm playing it safe.
Okay. All right. And is there anything else that you'd like to tell us or any other message you'd like to get out to people? Maybe just something of inspiration. And a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people are really going through it, especially with the economy right now. Shasta County's been hit pretty hard. Uh,
Yeah. Well,
so,
yes. No matter how dark it gets, it's always lighter because God is good. And we've been told that in this world we'll have tribulation, but to be of good cheer because God has overcome the world. And we need to really stay focused on that truth because it's a much larger truth than our temporary circumstances. And we must insist, even it's a discipline, to keep focused on the right thing. And I would just encourage people to get involved. And I know with Christians, it seems to be something that they grapple with sort of half-heartedly and just figure like, well, I'm not called to that. But everyone that is enjoying the benefits of self-governance has as much a responsibility to be in the public square and to engage as to eat every day. You don't hear any people saying, well, I'm not really called to eating. I just do such and such. It's something you have to do. And if we're self-governing, this is something we must do because the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. We have fallen asleep at the wheel and we've got a lot of work to catch up. But with a lot of favor and grace, things are happening. There's a lot of breakthrough, a lot of open doors, a lot of tables turning, a lot of boomerangs coming back on the mischief makers. So please do not let despair overtake you. Please get engaged. And prayer is even more powerful than all of this heavy lifting we're trying to do verbally and on paper and legally. the battle is truly being fought in the spiritual realm. So I encourage you to stay in prayer, but please also physically get engaged.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing with that today. I learned a lot because I had heard about it peripherally, but I hadn't really investigated it myself. So that was very helpful, and we'll probably put it out on a few other channels that I'm involved with too. So we'll get the
Well,
news out, and hopefully you'll get some response from some of the local people that we broadcast to.
I hope so too. Thank you so much, Simone. I appreciate you reaching out.
All right. Well, Deirdre, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your efforts to improve election integrity. And as always, for everybody who's watching us today, please do your own research and come to your own conclusions.
Yes, yes,
As always, these
absolutely.
presentations are made in hopes that never again will the truth be lost in
Hmm.
translation. Thank you for
Yes.
listening today. This is Deidre and Simone signing off for the day.